Okay, BIP of Bizarre Interest Productions. Heck, for this month, I should probably name myself Black Interest Productions. Man, a laugh track would be perfect for this, but oh well. We're also going to talk about another show I haven't discussed on the channel in quite some time, called Lyoko. And with the themes of Black and romance this month, it's finally time to address a few topics I've seen on Code Lyoko's discourse, Odd's relationship statuses, and one of the more memorable characters who barely showed up but still made an impact, Samantha Knight, Odd's kind of girlfriend for one episode in season 1 and then later in season 3. Because I've had this thought in my head for years that was supposed to be put into thoughts for last year, but better late than never. Because Code Lyoko's relationships have always been debatable. No, I still don't ship Odd ex Aelita. Sorry, not sorry. But apparently Samantha is like tied with Jeremy, William, Laura, and Eva from the novels I never read for like the most divisive character in the franchise. To the point, fanfics with Odd ex Sissy and Odd and Aelita don't necessarily treat her right. And it got me thinking, well, was Sam really a bad character? How was the relationship with Odd in those 2 episodes, and did the show actually waste her potential? Or were some of Sam's detractors right in the end? So type code Samantha in the comment section and let's get started. First off, for those unfamiliar, Code Lyoko is a French animated show with 4 kids. Thank God his smarts are on our side, Jeremy. Dangerous but effective class clown and woman chaser, Odd. Aloof cool guy with problematic undertones, Ulrich. And best dressed token minority girl with family problems in Yumi, who find a pink-haired sweetheart named Aelita digitized into a supercomputer near their boarding school, and also end up awakening the pseudo-virus multi-dangerous advanced system that's not just after Aelita, but can also use its programming to influence and wreak havoc on the real world, forcing the tweens with attitude to have to enter the digital world and help Aelita deactivate the towers that give Xana access to take over the world. So, where does Odd play into the story? Well, as I said, Odd is odd. He's the only extrovert on a team and friend group that's clearly the opposite. Flashy and bombastic as his clothes, and his flair and adrenaline do not match his size thanks to his passion in the arts despite his lack of studying. And on Lyoko, despite being a dog lover, he's a cat boy with laser arrows, temporary future vision, and an energy shield. He's also a massive flirt to the point that by season 2's end, he's had a relationship with almost every girl in the school, and he's flirted with Aelita a few times, he danced with Yumi once, and he had his fair share of shipping fuel with Sissy. Now, I'm not going to talk about Bringer or any of his other love interests, otherwise we'd be here for, hours? So let's focus on his relationship with Samantha Knight, since she was only in 2 episodes. Rock Bottom, Season 1, Episode 23, and Final Round, the finale of Season 3. So let's start with her debut, because she stands out for one obvious reason. Can you tell what it is? It's obvious. Odd is actually interested in the person he's dating for once. Seriously. He hints at her earlier as a DJ he trusts when the Warriors are planning a party at Yumi's house, to the point he has a photo of her in his pocket. He's too shy to admit to his friends he's genuinely interested, lies about the fact that she doesn't go to Caddick, and the first thing she does when he sees her is blush, give an awkward greeting, blush even more, and kiss her while she's still embarrassed. And while she's surprised, clearly she liked it enough that she's also blushing, so it's safe to assume that they've been together for some time and that she does feel the same way about him. But yeah, she snuck into the school rounds, and despite Odd bringing up finding songs for her to DJ to, she asks him to take him to the computer room, but she plans on stealing one of the computers so that she can make music more effectively. But she's broke, and Odd argues just because the school is insured doesn't mean she should steal it, but Jim captures him while she hides, and though he doesn't rat her out, he even tries to explain that he just wanted to borrow it but was too afraid to ask, which Jim is able to call him out on for lying, but Jim was kind of being a bit too harsh in this episode. Like, they have a 3-day vacation, and he doesn't want them having fun. He snatches Odd's phones even though they're on break, instead of just punishing Odd or giving him a warning because, the laptop wasn't stolen yet. But drama's got a drama. Oh, props for Odd for actually being selfless. Like, naturally, he genuinely wanted to help her because she wasn't in the best situation at her own school, and Jeremy and Ulrich aren't jerks like that, so they actually tried to help her. Then Xana's plan involves melting the ground and sinking the school buildings into the grave, and while none of the cast knows that they saved Jim's life, did anyone else notice that they were playing Eye of the Tiger for Jim's workout, or at least a variation of it? Sam was still in the computer room, so Odd and Ulrich have to use a harpoon and rope to hang glide to reach her, and they're able to save her and get out of the building in time. They have no choice but to bring her to the factory since Yumi lost to high-speed Hornets, and all of them lose their points, but this ain't simple plan. Odd's the last one standing and goes down, able to get Aelita to the tower after beating the last Hornet, and with the status quo, they're able to reset it all. The episode ends with Odd bringing Sam to Jeremy's room with him and Ulrich in the know, ready to help her out. So, what about the second episode, Final Round? easily one of the most impactful episodes in the franchise, and we're barely going to talk about that part since Samantha and Ulrich's father, the most well-deserved hated man in the franchise, returns in season 1 after being gone for so long. Basically, in the final episode of season 3, everyone except Aelita and William end up busy thanks to Ulrich's dad, Yumi's brother threatening her, and in Odd's case, he's competing in the Inter-Academy Skateboard Championship where Sam shows up, and boy, she knocks him off his feet in shock that she's back. She later explains that her family moved out into the coast, but she signed up, so she's only here for the day. And clearly those feelings never left, to the point she and Ulrich are talking about what him and her have in common. Ulrich asks Sam to give Odd a cryptic message telling him to go to the factory, which he promises to do, but she doesn't tell Odd. And when Ulrich escapes his father to ask Odd why he isn't there, he finds out the truth. So what was Sam's reason for telling him? I'm sorry, I just really wanted you to stay. We're so lucky to be together again, even for a day, and I'm leaving tonight. And Odd understands, but it's something important he has to do. And she even asks him, even more important than hanging out with me? And he says, unfortunately. The last time we see her is a sad look on her face with him being gone when Jim calls for him, her still looking. Oh, so video over. You're gonna ignore evolution, right? No, actually kind of like evolution, and the hate sword people have for it is kind of overblown. It's solid, but clearly needed a season 2 to flesh out some ideas or have the original staff on more so they could try to use evolution to wrap up some plot threads, or make the season we got more plot heavy to flesh it out, because we need to talk about Samantha Suarez. We'll talk about that aspect later. Okay, countdown. She shows up in Caddick joking that it's not her, and he's excited to see her, so much he decides to change clothes in a blazer, and when Xana's clone, disguised as a janitor, tries to drain his source codes, she stands up to defend him, low-key saving him, only for his speeching patterns to be entirely screwed up. Take a pen and write your thoughts next time, bro. That's what I do. Also, I feel like people tend to whitewash some of Jim's more nasty behavior, but in Evolution, he's really nice, because Odd steals his phone, and Jim's entirely understanding to the point where Yumi goes to give it back. Jim talks about how he feels about how the kids are not having good mental health, and they end up going to the principal's office, which ends up with the kids getting free orange lunch juice doing break now. I don't know, I wasn't expecting that at the time to actually address supporting kids' mental health, and I just really respect that. And the Spectre changes into Samantha last, but Odd's able to put the code in, so it goes away, but she doesn't show up at the end of the episode. In How to Fool Xana, he tries to make things up with her, but she's still mad he called her a beat, not his fault. Xana messed with his thinking, and we learn Sam got expelled from her other school for the second time, with her dad getting mad at her claiming she was too good for a boarding school, but she argued that she wanted to go back to Caddick, though she doesn't like he has to ditch her for her friends. Then in episode 13, hey, a black guy. We'll talk about that later. Odd wins the lottery. It's a setup by Xana, but he ordered 1,000 roses to her. But I do feel bad for Odd for talking about trying to make up for every time something goes wrong, though Aelita's able to help with the skid. We got baited for a Laura going to Lyoko opportunity, as much as I would have been down for that budget, and the crew's able to help Odd make up with Sam, who ends up kissing him on the cheek and thanking him. Plus, the crew plans to help him sell the rest, but that's the last time we see Sam in the series. Okay, so was Sam this horrible, irredeemable fictional character who's entirely selfish and just using Odd for her own gain? A pointless addition, only there for drama, used just to show Odd isn't gay? Guys, the bisexual allegations are fine. Did y'all forget he's a womanizer? A black alternate palette swap of Yumi? No, she's fine, but definitely wasted potential. So let's address the big talking points. Apparently people are like, oh, she's voiced by Shannon Man, the show's lazy. Guys, the show barely had any English voice actors in France. I'm not joking. All the voices in the show across the 97 episodes were done by like 8 people. I have absolutely no reason to lie to you all on that. Yes, Jeremy and Aelita is Shannon talking to herself and romancing herself. But by Sam's second appearance, Shannon managed to make Sam sound distinct enough. Try saying that 5 times in a row. She's there to cause drama. That's literally most of the side characters' roles. I've seen people say the show should only focus on the main 5. But you know, like, they're actually like kids with their own lives inside and outside of the virtual world. You kind of need to show the people around them every now and then. Heck, I'd argue she made Odd look better because her actions show that Odd has a moral compass and line he will not cross. He's understanding of her situation but wants to help her. And it's not like she knows the guy he likes is a secret superhero fighting a dangerous AI. And yes, she is one of the few black characters in the show that has more than 8 speaking lines besides Tamia. And if you want me to name the rest, Sandra, Bastion, Christopher, and the Man in Black, who's a man in black. But for the people who aren't crapping her design for being too similar to Yumi's, almost like they're in the same show, guys, I like it enough since she has the collar, her shirt's more open and loose, and the red highlights in her hair are a nice touch. Alright, so the black girl becoming a troublemaking thief. Let's address this with the nuances it deserves, because there's a valid discussion to be had about real-life people harboring microaggressions and treating black youth like potential criminals, resulting in false accusations, racial profiling, heightened surveillance, and charging people for crimes way too severely. But talking about Sam's actions in particular, just because she attempted to, not even succeed, mind you, in stealing the laptop, doesn't mean she's some natural evil Robin Hood. People in poverty and who are struggling financially often act out of desperation or take actions that they think are necessary to get food, hygiene, or medication thanks to lack of access. The show frames Sam as not this one-note person, but someone who doesn't ask for help and prefers to be secretive about her actions unless it's someone she can trust. Because as we saw in the end of the episode, had she just asked for help in the first place or felt comfortable doing so, she wouldn't have had to resort to stealing. So I do think the writers weren't being racist. Well, do I think they were being racist? No, not intentionally. They were just nuanced about the situation. Criminal behavior is an individual action, and even if we got that far, she's just a teenager, guys. She just made a mistake. She's not Peter Duncan. That dude actually kidnapped people. If someone in the community who happens to be black or a black girl doesn't like the connotations or stereotypes, don't be a dick to them. Just talk to them about it and listen to them. The fandom is too niche for that gatekeeping nonsense. You're not a bad person for wanting a character or a character of color to be treated better. There are also people saying she's only into him because she wanted to use him. Clearly, that wasn't true. Guys, you know you can like someone but also have your own goals and interests outside of that person, right? That's what they bonded over. And by her second appearance, she just wanted to spend time with him. Imagine falling in love with someone you haven't seen in years thanks to family and money issues, and now you have the opportunity to spend a day with them. You wouldn't want to take that opportunity? Okay, can we now talk about evolution in the Samantha discourse? So, in Evolution, a character named Samantha was introduced in the show who clearly had some sort of history with Odd, who keeps wanting to hang out with, but he can't thanks to his responsibilities. Guys, these are literally the same character. They just changed the race and swapped the last name. I've heard people say that Suarez wasn't meant to be Knight, but it's either homage, replacement, or their interpretation, because everything matches up too well. And yes, I have seen the arguments and the takes, since outside of the skin tone and hair color being different, the show brings up that she was at Caddick before. But there's a little bit of time that we know took place between season 4 and Evolution. So either the writers were referencing the times where she did come to the academy but wasn't necessarily a part of it, or eventually she did come to Caddick briefly and her parents sorted it out. After all, in episode 13, we see her leaving the school in Evolution, and Yumi is also one of those students who goes out to school there, but doesn't live inside the boarding houses like the other Lyoko warriors do. So if they're a student who can live in the city but also go to the school, Samantha's parents likely were able to move closer, or she just takes the bus that gets her to Caddick. Apparently, someone said as their headcanon, Sam's mom got remarried and Sam pays tribute to Michael Jackson when he died and bleached herself, which is why she is white in her last name change in Evolution. Oh god, that was 12 years ago too. I love it. So the question is, why didn't just cast her or someone else to be a black person so that they could keep the same last name? Okay, now is where we get to explore racism. Now, you all have probably seen this on the wiki, but people have speculated that they had a white girl play part Samantha and change the character, because in France, there's like low-key racism in the media industry where it's really not that common for a main or secondary character to have dark skin in live-action scripted television in France. And even in episode 13 of Evolution, like I brought up earlier, you do see a black guy in the background, and there's some episodes where I remember seeing a black girl. So clearly they're fine with having them exist, but not given much to do. Which, yeah, I'm not going to pretend like, guys, you see the black guy in episode, like, what, 56 of episode 33? Like, 0.056 of the video. Anyone working on the show, it's clearly not their fault. But if it's part of the culture, then that's kind of like systemic racism. And I'm not talking that out of my butt either. According to Le Monde, the major national newspaper, French TV channels failed to bring minorities to the limelight. The on-screen representation for non-white characters are all from 16% to 14%, with people of color being portrayed negatively in these programs, and 43% of cases in 2021 had an increase of 11 points compared to 2020. Al Jazeera reported that when a French black actress spoke up against racism, they called her aggressive, while some right-wing member of the European Parliament said she should go back to Africa if she's unhappy to see so many white people. Which is kind of effed up. If someone's saying maybe no one should be denied roles because of their race, don't say, oh, go back to a country they may not even be from. In fact, the same article points out that Roman Polanski, that French-Polish director who was accused of drugging and doing bad things against consent to a 13-year-old child in the United States before he fled back to France, was allowed to win Best Director and still make movies, which is so messed up that everyone was saying something about the fact. But the fact that they don't want to cast a black person but are willing to have a predator in the country still making films is, you know, not great. So, with that all being said, if Sam was wasted potential, what would you or I do? First off, I do like the character for the most part. The one thing I would have done was to have her just be around a bit more. I think if we had an episode before she debuted in episode 23 and season 1 had her and Odd meeting briefly where we saw them bond as friends, even if it was short, well, it would actually make sense that by episode 23 comes around, we see that, oh, okay, like, yeah, it's confirmed Odd actually has feelings for her. Then in season 2 and 4, I'm not the only one who brought this up, but anyone else thinks it would have been cool for Aelita and Samantha to bond, with Sam giving her tips on how to be a solid DJ and get her into music more? Heck, this could be the episode where it's revealed that she's going to be moving to a school that's farther away, where she and Odd say goodbye, which would make them, you know, when they reunite in season 3, briefly all the more bittersweet. I think if they had her show up to Aelita's concert in season 4, and have her bail her out when they had to go to Lyoko, and show that it was able to help her get her name out there, that would lead better into Evolution, where they can add that she got expelled because her name got out there and it was exposed to the school, but she was able to earn enough while her family situation got better, so they wouldn't have to deal with that now that she's at Caddock. While the creators have denounced Evolution, if they don't want Sissy to be the main love interest for Odd, I'd love it if they were just having Odd help Sam not make any more mistakes and helping Sam accomplish their goals, since Odd tends to be on his A game for people he cares about. And having Odd and Sam be like the main couple for Odd would actually flesh his character out a bit more. Now, would I like to see her become a Lyoko warrior? Yeah, sure, I'm a cold Lyoko fan. All we want to do is see what other characters would be like if they were able to go to Lyoko. That's like 20% of being a cold Lyoko fan. People wanted it with Sissy and Laura, me included. I haven't found a fanfiction yet, but there has to be a fanfiction out there where Sam became a Lyoko warrior somewhere. I read the game's Variety. I read the Christopher becoming a Lyoko fanfiction, and that one still haunts me to this day. Still good, though. But that's it. Sam definitely feels like wasted potential, easily tied with Sissy for potential chemistry, and I don't think she deserves a hate at all, but I just wish she got used a bit more. But let me know in the comment section, was I wrong? Is there anything I didn't consider? Thanks for watching, and BIP of Bizarre Interest Productions, signing off.